Hey there, welcome. My name is Alonda Carter, and I am the Recovering Hunbot. I create anti-MLM, that's anti-multi-level marketing videos, and I also do some true crime, and I have gotten into doing some things about fraud and just basically financial crimes. But if you think about it, isn't multi-level marketing criminal? Today's video is going to be my response to the #1 income earner for Beachbody. Now we're going to watch this together, and I'm going to take some notes and give my response along the way. This video is based on my research, experience, and opinion. Please, as always, do your own research and do not send any hate to anyone involved in any multi-level marketing, direct sales, network marketing, whatever you want to call it. None of those type of opportunities, or anyone who is involved with Beachbody. Also, be kind to each other and to me in the comment section. And now let's get to it. Let's see what this training is all about and what I have to say about it.
All right, we are official. Okay, so thank you so much for taking your time out on a Tuesday to come and spend a little 30-minute window with me, with us. The girls and I loved so much co-hosting these large team calls together that we decided to continue on. And I'm so grateful because I don't know about you guys that were a part of the last one, but this blessed me immensely. I love learning from other leaders. I think that's the best way to level up, is to constantly be learning from other people that are doing amazing things. And the beautiful part about this business is we're all at different points in our journey, and we all have different strengths and skills and abilities. And for you all, for all of us to be able to learn from one another is really what makes this community so unique, and something that I have been so blessed to be a part of for the last 10.5 years. That's insane. So I wanted to take and share something that really has been laid on my heart over the past probably 6 months. This presentation has kind of been a long time in the making. A little bit of it comes from a speech that I was asked to do this past year's leadership. And, you spend a lot of time on these presentations when you're asked to do them, and you really dig deep into your heart, and you really dig deep into how you got to where you are, and why and how you help others to do the same. And it's really just been a labor of love, because as you grow in this business, as you really show up to lead other people, you have to do so much growth. And so it's been a process for me as well. And so I wanted to be able to share it with people at large, because obviously all of us don't get to go to leadership at 5-star and above. If you have not set that as a goal, and it's something, this business is something that you want to grow into a full-time job, and inevitably you 100% need to have it on your goal list. The virtual ones, they were amazing, but the in-person one is absolutely my favorite event all year long. There is just nothing for me better than being around other leaders in this business. So I will be content with doing it virtually for the time being, but oh my gosh, I cannot wait for the day that I can be back together with these leaders, because I really do mean it when I say it. They're the best humans that I have come across. So my name is, for those of you who don't know me, I've been a coach, like I said, 10.5 years. It's been a journey, and I couldn't be more different than when I started. I have this little picture, and I had to cover up, part of Michelangelo, or David. Michelangelo is the one who carved him, of David, because it was distracting me. But this is the statue of David. And the way that I begin my presentation for leadership is to say, I want to give you guys a visualization, and that David was created out of a block of marble. And when Michelangelo was deciding to create him, it said that he already had an exact image in his mind of what he was carving out. David already existed within that block of marble. What it took was Michelangelo tediously chiseling away at that marble to then reveal his vision of David that lied within. And I don't know what it has been, but ever since I've had that visualization, I have just thought about every single one of us, and that we have this block of marble that we start out as is what seems like a blank canvas, but a creator has a specific vision for your life of the masterpiece that you are called to be. And it takes chiseling away at that marble to inevitably reveal the masterpiece that lies inside. And for me, with coaching, it has been a lot of chiseling, a lot of chiseling, but it's been the most amazing experience to have things revealed within yourself that maybe you didn't even see to start. Because I think had you shown me where I would be 10 and a half years from when I started, one, I wouldn't have believed it was possible, but two, I would have been blown away. There's just honestly no way that I thought that the canvas that I started with was capable of what has been created. And it's really been through the refinement of this business that has helped that process to happen. And so I wanted to share with you tonight in hopes that you will start to see the masterpiece within yourself and how this vehicle, this chisel could potentially be that thing that helps to reveal what's already inside of you. Because the thing is, oftentimes we feel like we've got to gather all of these things when in truth, what you need, you already have. It's just, you got to get rid of all the other stuff that's in there. So let's get started on the journey that we're going to go on tonight. So we oftentimes are attracted into this business because we have a specific vision. And it might not always look like initially that you want this huge team or that you want a 6-figure paycheck or whatever, but you see somebody, whoever you're signing up with, and you have this vision of what could be. And that's exciting. And that's why most of us sign up, is that there's this version of ourselves that we think, oh my gosh, if we could have that, then life would be a heck of a lot richer. Now, once we have that vision in our head, and maybe it's blurry, maybe it's clear, each of us is different, then we have our actual reality. And that is the fact that, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I had a lot of past failures. I had a lot of insecurities. I had a lot of fear of rejection. I was a serious perfectionist, but really it was just somebody who was super, super scared of failing in front of other people and falling on my face. I was so worried about what other people would think. I thought deep down, oh my gosh, what if I did go all in and I couldn't do it? How embarrassing would that be? And so that is there, and where the gap lies. I guess you should kind of flip these two images, but there's the reality of where you're starting in your journey, your marble, where your marble is at currently, and then the vision of where you hope one day you will be. And now I know what we all wish. We all wish that a magic genie will appear, and one day, all of a sudden, we'll have a post that goes viral, and we'll have people just coming in by the woodwork. They're just like wanting to join our team. They're wanting to buy challenge packs. They're wanting to, all of a sudden it just blows up, right? And all of it becomes possible. But when I look back at my journey, and mine was very, very slow to start. I didn't have an upline. I'll kind of go up into that later, but it was very slow and tedious and drawn out. And I oftentimes ask God, I'm like, please, Lord.
All right. So this is what I have so far. Oh, and some of it I agree with. I mean, I'm not going to say everything that she says I think is a big old bucket of hooey. But when it's tied to multi-level marketing, that's when the hooey, comes in. I do agree that you can learn from others, and this whole, like leader thing and leveling up. I'm not so sure about that, but I'm not so sure about that. Learning from others is what makes the community unique, because you can learn from others in just about any situation. I learn from others all the time, like where I work or through friends. It's not just in the Beachbody community. I do like the fact that she's saying this business, not your business, because you don't own a business when you are a Beachbody coach. You're an independent contractor, and it's Beachbody's business, not yours. So at least she says that. And she tells us she's been in it for 10 and a half years. Wow, that's a long time. And she's different today than who she was 10 and a half years ago. And I'm just going to say, if you're the same person who you were 10 and a half years ago, then you haven't done any growth naturally, because people just change with time. That's kind of a life thing. Now, one of the things that bugged me was the whole analogy to the statue of David, because it's all about how this opportunity is going to reveal the greatness inside of you. And to me, you're saying that, and the coaches are hearing it. And I think that's something that would further kind of dig them into it and indoctrinate them more. It's like, yeah, you're right. I am going to find my greatness, this opportunity in front of me. Oh, I've got to grab onto this, because it's not like you can have greatness any other way. She talked a little bit about the fear of rejection, and that is also something else that's going to further indoctrinate people who are Beachbody coaches, because you will get a lot of rejection, but apparently you just have to take this in stride and just not let it impact you, because it's all about working past your fears. Now, this is where she absolutely lost me. This whole nonsense of that, how her journey was so slow. Nay, not true. In comparison to other coaches I have known, nay. But this person is held up to be like, you can do it just like she can. She joined 10 and a half years ago. She was also in her 20s, gorgeous body. I mean, just a gorgeous girl. People didn't know really about Beachbody then. They know about it now. It's a different world. So let's look at a little bit of her journey that was, it was so long. Okay, the numbers that you are seeing here is from the 2018 to 2019 income disclosure statement. So we're told by her on a graphic that her first 24 weeks, she earned $5,689, which comes to $2.96 an hour. She was working, according to the graphic, 80 hours per week. By year one, she was averaging $1,152.75. Year two, $5,084.45 average per week. And by year three, $22,282.30 per week. But then we look at reality. And we look at that most coaches, because most people are at the rank of coach. That is the entry rank, which is over 77%. I was, not as generous with working, 80 hours a week. But if I figured that out at 80 hours a week, that would be about 10 cents an hour. What I typically go with is 15 to make it more realistic, which is 780 hours per year. So that would be roughly 55 cents. So how is it that her average here is normal? It's not. It's very unique. Most people who come into this cannot get anywhere near to where this person is, but yet she's held up to be like, you too can get there. No, you can't. There's one person that makes the amount of money that she does, and it's her. There's no one who has surpassed her. But yet you often hear, oh, you can make more than anyone else. It's just how hard you work. No, you can't. The odds are against you. The likelihood of you doing that is slim and next to none. And I will show you why in a little bit with some more calculations.
I just need this to move a little bit faster because this is like really challenging. And I now, because of course, hindsight is 2020, not the year 2020, but 2020 vision. I can now see why that happened. Because if a genie would have appeared and he would have handed me all of the success that in my head I wanted, just like that, as I was when I started, it would have absolutely crushed me. No doubt in my mind, 100% sure I would have been divorced. 100% sure. Oh, it gives me chills. That's really bad. 100% I would have been divorced. To the overwhelm of never having led a single person to then all of a sudden leading thousands of people, that responsibility, that burden really is what it would have been, would have crushed my soul. I would have been scared out of my mind at all times, freaking out, scared of losing it. If I would have had, let's say, the money, I would have completely blown it. I would have completely blown it. I was not equipped to be responsible for what came with my dreams. Because at the end of the day, sure, it looks great on paper to say I would love all of these things to just instantly happen in my life, but I was not ready for my own dreams. And so there is a refining process that is called the gap in your journey. And it's the part that people get frustrated in. And it's honestly the part where a lot of people give up because they think it's not happening fast enough. And they're thinking it's not happening fast enough because they're just not attracting the right people. But in truth, I really believe it's not happening fast enough because you're not growing into the kind of person that is ready for those type of responsibilities. And so if you focus on those areas, then all of a sudden you'll see your growth start to take place and it will absolutely blow your mind. So what is the gap? The gap is discipline. I was not near the disciplined person I am today when I started this journey. In fact, I had quit literally everything I had ever started in my entire life before Beachbody. The skill, overnight, you can't develop the skills that it requires to lead the team that I wanted to have. The experience, there's no mistaking the fact that you can't just fake it, that you've felt what other people are going to feel in this business. The empathy, that really goes into what I just said, like the empathy of, I totally understand what you're going through because I have been there. That is what coaching is, right? If we've never struggled with anything health and fitness, any insecurity, any business issues, how could we possibly lead other people through it? Time management, money management, personal growth, there's all of those things that are in this gap. And that is the only thing stopping you from taking your vision and turning it into your reality, but not a reality of, oh my gosh, my relationship's strained. Oh my gosh, I'm completely overwhelmed 24 hours a day. But a reality of like, no, I'm a confident leader. I know I'm a good leader because I have weathered the storms. I have gone and I've acquired experience and I've fallen on my face and I can totally understand when somebody's going through a tough time. And I'm a saver and I'm an investor and I live below my means because I know what it's like to struggle financially. And I know for sure I'm never going back there. And I have a connected partnership. And sure, each of our husbands or spouses' roles might look different. My husband doesn't really work the business side of things in the way that I do. But we are a connected partnership because we've grown together through this process. But it was a refining process. There was a lot of growth that had to happen for us to get to a place where we both felt confident in the fact that, no, we're in this together. So don't hate the gap, lean into it. It's a beautiful part of the process and it's just what will enrich your reality way more than you actually think. And some of the ways that I had an initial vision for this business, my reality has surpassed it because of the person that I became in the process. Okay, just an example of this. There are some things that you can prepare all you want, but it will never.
Okay, where do I start? Because I have more to say from my notes here. Okay, I get the whole thing about if she would have been given everything right away, she would have been crushed by it. She didn't have the skills. You need to grow your skills. And I can relate to that. For instance, in YouTube, I haven't grown just like by leaps and bounds. Have I grown since I started? Yeah. Did I know all the skills? I'm still learning skills as I do it. So I get that. Like within anything that you're doing, you don't start out knowing all the things. You learn as you go. But with multi-level marketing, it's different because the entire system is not set up for you to win just by getting skills. And a lot of times these skills are, you think you're getting skills, but are you really? Because you kind of feel like you're moving forward, but you're not really getting any traction. It's all about just kind of like working longer and harder at it and pushing yourself, because as long as you don't give up, you're going to have success if you just keep going. And to me, when I hear that, it's if you're willing to become someone that you're not, you're willing to drop your morals and kick your ethics right on out the window, because in my opinion, that's what happens to someone in multi-level marketing. You have to be okay knowing that you are taking money from people that are not going to have success, because she knows most people are not going to experience any success. But she also really leans in. Okay, there's an expression that really bugs me: lean into that gap. She's also someone that is very religious, and she really, I think, believes in the prosperity gospel. And by that, she somehow has, is deserving of these things. And others just aren't working hard enough for those things, but she's put in the work. So that's why she's getting them, because it's all up to you. It's never about the system, it's never about the MLM structure. It always goes back to you. And as she talks, that's something that she keeps kind of like, she peppers that in. She doesn't say it outright, but it's in there. Now, this bit about empathy. Now, I get we need to have empathy. Do I think she has empathy? To a degree, yes. But also with where she is in this entire little, structure, um, unless you're proving that you can, like, get some traction on your own, leaders like her are not offering their hand and saying, come here, I'm going to help you. It's not like that at all. They think they're doing things to help you because they put out training like this. But what is this really going to do? How is this going to really help anyone actually do the thing so that they're successful in this? The part about leaning into your gap, that your gap is what stops you, that's part of the place where she's putting the blame on you. She says she knows financial struggle, and I believe her in that. I absolutely believe her. But I don't believe she knows what it's like for most of these people who are desperately trying so hard to make MLM work, and it just simply is not.
Never be what you actually experience, right? And any of us parents out there know that you can read What to Expect When Expecting 25 times, and it does not matter when the day comes and your baby arrives, because your baby might not be like the babies in the books. Like my baby was a preemie baby. I could not have been, I was not forewarned of all the things that were unexpected. I had to learn as I went through that process to understand, okay, I'm not always going to get it right. I'm just going to make the next best choice and continue to learn and grow through that experience. And I'll tell you, as something personal, is I didn't have that kind of mom. I didn't have a mom that I could lean into and say, Mom, I'm freaking out. Like, what should I do? I just knew that I didn't want to be the kind of mom that I had. I wanted to be something that was even better. But how do you get something? How do you become something that you've never had? Through just trial and error, through leaning into the storm, through just asking yourself, man, what would I have wished I had? Through leaning into your friends and other people that have kids. But you can't just like go into info mode and retain all the knowledge. You have to actually take action. You got to show up every single day, and there's going to be hard days. And then there's going to be days that are just absolutely glorious. And not to say that coaching is the exact same thing as mothering, but honestly, when it comes to info versus action, it really is. It's not really one of those things that you can just go into trainings or show up on calls like this and then just show up the next day as a more equipped coach. You cannot skip the gap. You can't skip the part where you're actually learning hand in hand, firsthand, what that experience feels like, because if you skip it, then you can't mentor somebody else through it. So I want to explain a little bit about what I mean. I know for anybody on here who's been a coach, hopefully longer than a week, you have had your first coach coming out post. Maybe you posted about your first challenge group, or you posted about coaching, that you actually are a coach. And it's like, oh my gosh, high school, middle school. I have a middle schooler right now. Middle school years all over, right? On that day. It's like, everybody's looking at me. They're judging me. They're definitely not going to say anything positive about this experience. It is one of the scarier moments in your entire journey because it's super vulnerable. But if this is something that you really want to do, you do it anyway. You push through that fear And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, that wasn't near as bad as I thought I was going to be. I had way catastrophized that in my head. I'm going to continue to move on. And then we have that friend who we thought for sure would be like our supporter because we had supported them in different things that they had done. And they are that ultimate skeptic. And they're like, come on now. I mean, that's cute, but like, people don't make money at that. Like, it's only the people at the top that make money. It's like a pyramid scheme. Just beware. I would be really weary. And you have to make a decision in that moment. Like, am I going to let this person be the catalyst that pushes me away from the vision that I have for what this could become, for what I could become? Or am I going to continue to push forward anyway?
Okay, so she straight up uses isn't that a pyramid scheme? It's a product-based pyramid scheme because there is a product that is offered. And the only way you can make money with this so-called opportunity is by recruiting. And I'm going to show you exactly why. Okay, something I did is I plugged in some numbers that if you want to make $50,000 before your expenses as a Beachbody coach, how much Shakeology do you have to share each month and every month? Well, you make 25% commission off of any of these products. So we're just using Shakeology because that's the thing that, coaches always pitch, because if you're going to get in the challenge groups, that's what you need to be on supposedly. The cost is $129.95. The commission is roughly $32.48. So in order to make that $50,000, that means you need to sell 1,538 of these units of Shakeology. Let's make it 1,539. We'll just round on up, which means you need to sell 128 Shakeologies a month. And you need to sell a little bit over 29 bags of Shakeology per week. How realistic is that? How could you actually make money just doing retail sales? Now, granted, I'm only showing Shakeology. There's a whole bunch of other products, but you would have to think that there's actually people outside of Beachbody that are going to say yes to that. And I'm going to say very few outside of the Beachbody bubble will say yes. Plus, you have to consider your other expenses. If you are a coach, you are going to be spending $99 per month on Shakeology. That's $1,188 per year. Plus, you are going to be getting your $99 Beachbody on demand. You are going to be spending $15.95 per month for your back office. So that grand total of all of your basic expenses is $1,478.40. But there's others that you are going to have to, spend on as well, because there's things like taxes. You are going to be charged taxes at the end of the year if you make $600 or more, because you have to report that to the IRS. What about your health insurance? If you go to Super Saturday, you pay for the ticket to go. You also pay for any Shakeology you consume there or anything else that's available. You are buying it. The company doesn't give it to you. The Summit tickets, you're going to have to buy that. Travel, hotel, and meals. Summit is the conference. Other products that you might get, prizes that you're going to get for your challenge groups, swag that you're going to get. So, people can ask you about, what's that about Beachbody? Because you're wearing a shirt. Trust me, no one asks. I wore plenty of that stuff out in public. Not one time did anybody ask me about it. Plus, there's personal development. And then there's going to be other trainings you'll go to. There's a whole lot of other expenses I haven't included, but basically, you're getting the gist.
And when you do that, you then move on and you keep growing through the process of coaching. And then you get to the team calls. And they don't look like this one. What is it? 500 something people on this call. My first team call was me and one other person. And then the second one was me and one other person. And then the third one was me and one other person. And that person stopped showing up. And then I had to get somebody else to show up. So it's scary to start from the beginning. The fear of failure is huge, right? But these are parts of the process of the journey that is coaching that cannot be skipped over. You will not wake up one day and have 500 people on your team call. You just won't. You're not equipped. It would be scarier probably to public speak in front of 500 people, knowing there's 511 of you in your bedrooms, living rooms, wherever, watching me. If I was brand new, there's no way. I would be terrified. And I'm still terrified. 10 and a half years. So these are parts of the journey that cannot be studied through. And too often I see people, they're studying this business upwards and downwards. I know my perfectionist people out there, because you think if you just study longer, you'll be more equipped and then your failure would be like less. No, it's just not. It's like you could read that book, What to Expect When You're Expecting, as many times as you want. It's still not, you're not going to be prepared the day your child comes home. There's just no way to prepare for it other than to just go for it. And people are pregnant for a child, like to have a child for only 9 months. Some of you have been coaches for over 9 months. You're still in study mode. Like, this is to become a parent, to raise somebody, another human being, not to just share something that's bettering your life. We have to stop the study mode and we have to lean in to that gap, because that is what is going to help us to become who we need to be in order to thrive in this business. Each of the stumbling blocks, each thing that you fall on your face for, each thing that you feel completely vulnerable, scared to death of, is the thing that is actually going to become your stepping stone. Like, I remember specifically, and I bring this example up often because, Bonnie Engel is one of my best friends. She was a brand new coach and her friends were belittling her and making her feel like this big for talking to them about coaching. And I remember getting on a call with her and saying, girl, I totally get it. Here's exactly what happened to me. And this is the process that I took to be able to push through it. And I was able to give perspective based on my own experience. That is what leadership is. Like, so many of you are so scared to call yourself a leader, but all you have to do to lead somebody is be one step ahead of them in coaching and in the health and fitness side, is just simply to be on the journey yourself and be able to share from your own experience. But if your journey was like a lazy river and not the rapids, nobody would really relate to your journey and you couldn't lead very much. So the only way that we become more equipped leaders is to go through more crap. It's just part of the journey. So it was all for a bigger purpose. Every single thing that I've ever been through, I have lost, I wish I had updated numbers, but I think I've had, let's say 150 diamonds. I've lost 115. So I have experienced way more defeat. I've experienced way more feeling like, oh my gosh, than probably anybody on my team. But because of that, I'm able to lead them through that exact same thing. Like, that actually equipped me to be a great leader.
I get you're not going to have 500 people on your team right away. Most people won't even have 2. Let's just be real. She says that, most people will quit. Yeah, true. They will, because they're seeing it doesn't matter how hard they work, how many hours they put into it. They're not getting anything out of it. Have you not seen the income disclosure statement where most people are making a little bit over $400 a year? I mean, with all the hours that you're putting in, is that really worth it to keep on doing that? Because most people, if they are able to get at that diamond level, which you're not going to be making a livable wage at the diamond level, let's look at those numbers. All right, so let's look at the diamond. If you're a diamond, on average, you earn $17,174 for the year. Only 2.3% of the coaches in the entire coach network are making not even $18,000. So if you are working that 15 hours a week, that's 780 hours per year, that's a little bit over $22 per hour, which is not bad if that's what you're making and you're making like a full-time wage. It's not terrible, but it's not wonderful either. But if you are working that 80 hours, like what she's talking about, then you're making below minimum wage. You're making $4.13. So yeah, if people do reach diamond, and I've known people who reached diamond, they didn't make anywhere near $17,000 and they worked a bazillion hours on it. It's not from the lack of trying. It's not from the lack of them trying to push through their fear. It's because they're not having the results, because most people will not have results.
Because I've been through more of the sludge. It's just the way that you grow your character is through getting chiseled away at, through some of the hardships in coaching. And the way that you grow through it is to ask yourself, like, what is this here to teach me? How can I grow through this? What is this opportunity that is in front of me? There have been hard seasons in this 10 and a half years. Hard seasons. I've texted many of the people, the leaders on this call. I'm like, are you going through this too? Janelle, I specifically remember texting you one time. And they agree. They're like, yeah, if they're not going through it right then, a month, 2 months, 3 months later, they're going through it, because we're all always going through turbulence. It's just like saying to a parent, like, is your child going through this phase? And it's like, maybe they're not right now, but they're going to be, because that's just parenthood. That's just growing through life. Now, I love this quote. I feel like it's been my guiding light throughout my entire coaching journey. I don't know why there's this little blue, whatever. To he who can be trusted with little can also be trusted with much. This, I swear to you, is what has gotten me through the hard times of coaching in the beginning, where I just wasn't seeing a lot of the fruits of my labor in the moment. And the fact of the matter was, I had to show up not as how my business was in that moment. Like if you skip over, if I skipped over showing up to the team call when 1, 2, 3 people were showing up, I would have never made it to the call where 500 people are on the call. I could not skip over it. I had to be just as diligent, just as determined to be there for that call, prepared, as I am for the 500. Because if you can't be trusted with your little, how can you expect that you'll be trusted with much? The thing is, we want the reverse. We want to be entrusted with more. And then we're like, okay, you know what? Once my business is at 5-star diamond and I'm making $1,000 a week, then I'm going to show up and run this thing like a business. That's just not how it works. Like, you can't say, give me the team, give me the people, give me the money. Then I'm ready. Like, I can turn it up. That's not how life works in general. Think about dating and having babies. Like, if you just showed up when it was convenient, or once you already had the fruits, like, it starts with the vine. It starts with you tending to that vine before it ever has fruits on it. So you have to show up right now, no matter where your business is at, and treat it as if you were already at the long-term vision. And I realize that can be challenging. You might not be able to put as much time or as much financial investment into it, but as much as you can. If you want it to become something that is, a full-time job, or is something that's really super prosperous, you can't show up to it like a hobby and show up to it when it's convenient and expect for it to show up to you. It's just not going to. That's just not the law of, that's biblical law right there. And I promise you, I have seen this business become what it has because I was just as diligent, maybe more diligent, when I was at the very beginning stages of my business, because I saw what it could be and I needed it to happen for our family. So the first step is you lead yourself well. No matter where you're at in this business, this will always be the number one cornerstone of your success. You have to lead in the fitness realm. You have to lead in the business side. You have to constantly. This is so important. I think it's one that gets overlooked. Personal growth. You have to be equipping yourself to be a person who can pour out because you're being filled up, because you're intentionally pouring into yourself so that you have something to give. If you stop that, just like as a mom, if you never take any time for yourself, all of a sudden you're ragged out. It's the same with this business. You are pouring out constantly. And it's a beautiful thing. That's what we should be doing with our lives. We should be giving back, and we should be giving more and being able to pour into others, but we cannot pour from empty cups. And so that personal growth cornerstone, don't ever neglect that. There's been seasons in my life where I've seen myself have hit great goals and feel completely drained and not feel the joy from it. And it's because I stopped doing the personal growth part. I stopped filling myself up. I was just doing because I had a goal versus doing because I really love people and I wanted to be able to be there and give the best of myself. And so just make sure that if you are in this business, you want to make a difference, you want to make an impact, that these things are your very first priority, no matter what. Then you'll be blessed with others to lead. Like there have been times where I'm like, all I'm attracting is people who just take and take and take and don't even do anything. And it's like, dude, I'm not doing the work. And I don't know how it works with the fact that they know somehow, but it really is true. Like the law of attraction, I get the kind of people that I am being in the moment. And so the more disciplined I am, the more disciplined people I attract. And that remains true no matter where you're at in a business. Like I said, 10 years in the business, if I stop with these things, I see a standstill in my business. I see myself attracting people that are just not they're not ready. They're not ready for change. And it's because I'm personally not ready for change in that moment. So I have to get myself back to get back in, my groove. I have to first get back in the groove with these things before anything else can take place. Here's the thing though.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, with anything, you are going to have seasons. So I will agree with that. I absolutely will agree with that. But she wants people to be working really hard right away. And I get you have to work, you got to crawl before you walk. But how realistic is it for someone, especially like right now, what's going on in the world, if they are struggling in every area of their life, including financially, to keep pouring into an MLM, to keep giving an MLM their money? What is the likelihood that they're going to get anything back? She knows that the likelihood is slim and next to none, but she's going to place the blame again on the people. I want to point out again, her growth is not average. And something she said really rubbed me the wrong way, the whole biblical law. That's where I go into, she leans in very heavily into religion. And that's something that a lot of people who are in MLMs do, is it's that prosperity gospel. It's that somehow that they are worthy of the success, that they have been blessed because they've done the work. And I find that to be just really, really cringy. And she also talked about the law of attraction, that if she's not disciplined, then she's not attracting disciplined people to her. So she's really going to put this into basically God's hands and to the law of attraction and never think about anything else. Remember her journey, the money she was making in that first year is not typical, but yet she's held up to be the person that, look, you can be just like her.
The secret to this business and the secret to attracting your dream team and the thing that's stopping you, the only thing, is you. You are the only thing standing in your way from literally everything you've ever wanted to do in your entire life. Everything you've ever wanted to achieve, every freedom you've ever wanted to have, the person you want to be, the only thing stopping you is you. It's the labels you've given yourself. It's the skills that you've said, I just don't have those. I'm not able to do that. It's the cop-outs that you made. It's the stories that you've sold yourself on what you're capable of. Here's a few of the ones that I have personally said, and I also hear quite often. I'm not organized. I'm not a planner type person. So I just want to wing it. And I don't really feel like I can keep up with all that stuff. I easily get overwhelmed. Like it just feels like too much. I don't really even know where to start. I'm an introvert, so I'm just not really that great with people and connecting. I am not creative at all. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not somebody who wants to be on like a stage talking to big groups of people. That freaks me out. Well, if I could just have a different upline, I feel like I would be in a totally different space. My team is just not really my jam. Like I want to be a part of this team over here. So I've just considered like getting out for 6 months and then going and rejoining the right team. Because if it's just right part of the right team, then I know that I can make this work. I am so not good with social media. Like you've either got it or you don't have it. And I just don't have it. I don't have an audience. Like I post stuff and there's nothing. Anybody relate to any of those? Here's the thing. The problem with those things are we act like they're like permanent reality. We act like these things are just, it is what it is. And it's so not. Those are all temporary challenges and areas for improvement that need to be chiseled away at so that you can become the next level of yourself. Those are all things that just need to be chiseled away at. I have said almost all of those things at some point in my coaching career, especially in the beginning. I had to chisel away all of these disbeliefs that I had about myself and the business and the opportunity that was at my feet, and come to the reality of what was actually true. That I'm genuine and caring, that you are genuine and caring, that I was committed to daily growth. I was willing to play the long game, that I'm great at listening and I love others well. When I get in a conversation, I go deep, being an introvert. That I can get inspiration from everybody around me. Sure, there are people that are way more creative, but I can use them as a source of inspiration for myself. And I can pay attention to what really draws my attention. And I can share things that are similar to theirs. Not exactly, but if it inspired me, it probably inspires somebody else. That I'm becoming a better speaker through practice, because that's not something you just wake up and jump on stage in front of 500 people and do. It starts with that one or two that show up for that team call. And even when they don't show up, it's you doing the call anyway, recording yourself and looking at areas and ways that you could have done it better. Because every single time that you speak, you're growing in that area and becoming more confident. That you have the opportunity to be the upline that you wished you would have had. All the things that you're like, oh, I wish I would have known that. Oh, I would have loved to be able to do that. Do that. Be that for your team. That is what a testimony is built out of. That I'm actively forming my dream team. The culture that I want to create, that you want to create. That exact tribe that you wished you were a part of. Like, go create that. It doesn't have to be 1,000 people strong. It starts out as 2, 3, 5, 20, whatever, and it grows from there. I once had a team of 1. So did every other leader on here. We started with nobody, and then we got to choose how we led that team from there. If you don't have a team to be a part of, guess what? You have the freedom to create whatever you hope and wish your team would be. That's the beautiful thing about this. Lead with that vision.
Has she said anything in this training where she's giving someone actually steps that they can do to have any sort of result, that they can go on their own? To me, I feel more like I'm being preached at than I'm being taught. I don't know about you.
I'm committed to learning social media every single day. This is another one that is just a daily choice to learn one little thing. Reels, awesome for that. 15 seconds. You can learn, you can turn your camera upside. I learned camera tricks today. Turn your camera upside down. You can take a big picture of a waterfall and trees. It's awesome. Every single day doesn't mean you're listening to an hour training. This is one little thing that is bettering you in that area and growing your opportunity for believing yourself that you can do social media. If you learn to walk and talk, and some of you in multiple languages, trust me, you can learn how to post a reel. There's so much information out there. It's actually, you guys are drunk with information. There's too much information. Okay. And I'm serving value that my ideal community would value. When they do find me, they'll know they found the right spot, because I'm posting things that matter and that add value to their life, because I'm also getting ideas from other people and realizing, oh, I like that. Reshare something else similar. You're actively building your testimony with every single challenge you overcome. I want you all to think about the people that you admire most in this business. Likely, or in life even, likely it's because they overcame hardships. Nobody wants the story of the girl who got it all together and it just kind of like easily rose to the top. No, we love those stories of hardship and challenge. And oh my gosh, this person was like serious underdog and they were able to build all of that. Why? Why do we love that? Because it shows us it's capable. We're capable of that. Like, wow, if that was possible for them, like we can do it too. Do you think that the creator, the person that already has your masterpiece in their mind, wants other people to just be like, wow, that's beautiful? Or do they want them to be like, wow, even through all of that chiseling, look what was revealed? That is the beauty of life, in my opinion. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between goals and standards, because I think this is really important for our business. I think oftentimes we lead with goals, and I showed that little vision board, and that was like goals. These are things that they're momentary. They are finite. You achieve a goal and you check it off your checklist. And I shared how there's been times where I set a goal and I hit it and it didn't have that much joy. Like it didn't have the joy that I expected it to have. That's because I wasn't really focused on my standards. I wasn't focused on honoring my priorities. I wasn't focused on like who I was becoming in that moment. I was just focused on the goal. Now, a standard is something that's permanent. It's all about becoming someone, the person that you need to be in order to achieve the things and live the life that you want to live. So I'm going to show you what this meant for me. To the left, this is where I started. And Shay, who's on the call, knows me from this. This is the first time I ever met her. She was in a bar where I was bartending. I was a bartender from the time I was 18 until the time I was 25. And it's really the only world I ever knew. I hated bartending with passion, but it's easy to get sucked into that business because it's great cash right in your pocket every single night. And so as a bartender, when I started this journey, I was a high school dropout. I dropped out because I was taking care of my dad, who was a severe alcoholic. My parents were alcoholics, not like had a drink or two after every day, but like passed out every day. Drink in the morning, kind of drink. And my mom passed away from alcoholism. So I became caretaker, dropped out, didn't have any kind of education. I filed for bankruptcy when I was 25. The little girl that I had right before I started this journey was premature and had $400,000 worth of medical bills attached to her. That was not in what to expect when you're expecting. That was, let me figure this out as I go, because I'm going to take action and do whatever it takes. I was an unwed mother to a preemie. I had no upline support. I've never had a single coach placed below me. I was a habitual quitter, and I had a previous failed business doing a bartending service that I could hire out girls, and I got completely wiped out from it. So how does that person become who I am today? I've been the top earning coach for, I think, 4 or 5 years now. I am a daughter of a king, not defined by the parents that I was given to on this earth. I paid cash for my home at 29. I am a wifey and mother to 3. I've built a team that I wished I would have had. I'm a habitual learner, and I'm a multiple business owner. Here are the things. This was my gap. These are probably, and of course I could list probably way more, but these were the staples, these 5 things that I shifted in my standards when I started this business that inevitably changed who I was. I became the kind of person who did these things. And lo and behold, they shifted the course of my life in every way possible for the better. The number 1, I kept the commitments I make to myself and others, no matter how I felt. This was the hard thing to break, because being a habitual quitter, as soon as I used to make a confirmation that I was going to do something, I started to think about how I was going to get out of it if I didn't feel like it. And this 10 years later, I still have to fight this. I still have to make sure that I'm keeping that in check. And I have to remind myself that this is the standard that I hold my life to. It helps me to say no to things, because if it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no for me, because I know I'm going to keep the commitment. But this is something that will change so much. If this is a struggle for you, change so much about how you approach what you take on in your life. And it really has been a blessing, because feelings they're fleeting, and they will fool you. And I'm telling you right now, if you live your life based on how you feel, just doing the things that you feel like doing, you're going to be in a whirlpool of circle, experiencing the same things over and over and over and over again, because the life that you want is not going to be convenient. This is not. Number two, I took ownership of every single thing in my life, every single thing, from the parents that I had as the alcoholic parents, to my daughter being premature, to not having the right insurance that then cost me to have to file bankruptcy. Every single thing I took as my 100% fault, not fault as like, obviously I didn't pick my alcoholic parents, but any choices that I made that negatively impacted me, I took ownership that inevitably was my decision to do. The insurance, my decision. Buying a home when I was 20 years old, not necessarily knowing exactly how I was going to have to pay for it if things changed, my problem. So even the no upline. Yes, it was my fault. I could have researched more. I didn't. So it was my fault I didn't get the upline. And when I did that, everything changed. Because instead of selling myself stories that there were these sob stories, I got to be in charge again and rewrite the outcomes, the end of that story. That's just a part of the journey. Those negative things, or what look like negative, are actually a part of a testimony that's being built. That is the reason why I'm on this call today. So that was so, so powerful. My next thing was I aim to make things easier and better for others than it was for me. So everything that I endured in coaching and the learning process of feeling my way forward, especially because I was doing it alone and blind, I just always had it in the front of my head, like, okay, how can I make this easier and better for my team? How can I improve this? Okay, I watched that team call. How can I make that even more concise? When you view through that lens of like, how can I improve upon this? So many things get condensed and become better. And that has blessed me so much. I lead by example and set the pace. I already covered that. And then the last thing was I live below my means and manage my finances God's way. This has blessed my life so much. I seriously am mind blown by how our lives have changed, but I know why.
Okay, so much of what she's saying, it goes back to, I just feel like I'm being preached at. Is it just me? Because this whole like building your testimony, like every day, like through your hardships and stuff, I mean, doesn't that feel like you're being preached at? And this whole thing of her, her story about, she hated bartending so very much, but yet it's money in your pocket. But she did start her own bartending business and she says it was failed. And I've heard some stories about that, but I'm not really sure about some things. So I'm not really prepared to share that with you. If you know some of it, you can put that in the comments. She says she is a multiple business owner. I know she has a lash business, but her job right now, all her job is to get the people who are listening to her to believe more, believe as long as they possibly can in this opportunity. Because as long as they believe, they'll keep paying into the system. And when they pay into the system, the people up above, like her, are the ones who make any coin, if they do make anything. She's also used so many stinking MLM cliches, the failing forward. I mean, it just makes me kind of want to gag.
Because it has been to whom much is given, much is expected. And also, he can be trusted with little, can be trusted with much. When I was trusted with little and used that resource well, I was blessed with more. And as I continue that journey, as I continue to be responsible in the way that it's aligned, I have seen the fruits grow and I've been able to give a heck of a lot more back. So self-evaluation, we're coming to the last few slides, but I wanted to be able to give this to you as just your way of, where are you at? What current habits are holding you back? What's a standard that you'll need to raise in order to grow into the person who's capable of your dreams? What's a limited belief that needs to be reframed? What excuse do you need to take ownership of and grow through in order to level up? Screenshot it, or I can share in this group that I have with the leaders. And please do the work on that, because those are, I guarantee you answer these and you make the shifts necessary, you will see your next level. It's always revealed once you have these answers and you start to make some changes. It doesn't take huge changes, just these little incremental shifts that all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's where it is. Okay, that's what I need to change. And then boom, next level. Now I want to talk about our CEO for a second. This is Carl. And obviously you know him. And his big dream is 1 million coaches in Beachbody. And, I think about Carl, he's such an amazing leader. And the reason why he's an amazing leader, and the way that I always look up to how he's leading and how I lead my own team, is the fact that Carl is not sitting around worrying about whether Lindsay Matway or Janelle Summers or Lori Stewart are going to continue to build. He's not freaking out if one of us takes a couple months of downtime. No, he's not relying on any single one of us to make his dream a reality. He is solely focused on what he has control of sharing his vision passionately, often, and then casting a super wide net for those people who are willing to do the work that it takes to make that dream a reality. Of course, he's so happy to have all of us on, but he's not going to stop sharing the vision and freak out if one of us left. He's not. I've seen it happen. I've seen, people leave and move on to other things. I've never seen Carl waver. I've never seen him worry, because he knows that it wasn't those people that were going to make his dream a reality. It's him constantly sharing that vision, constantly focused on what he has control over, and just passionately sharing and doing the work himself. And it naturally attracts the next people that are ready to do the work that it takes to have that thing achieved. And I think that is so much of what we do as coaches, like our job. And so much we get stuck because we're so worried about, will those people stay? Or, oh my gosh, I need to find this one person. I need to recruit this one person. And it's like, no, guys, no. You have to be like Carl. You have to share passionately. You have to focus on what you have control of. You have to lead by example. And then all of a sudden, the right soldiers will show up because they'll have a similar vision and they'll want to be a part of your vision. And then all of a sudden magic will happen. So I just wanted to share that because I love Carl and the way that he has led through the last 2.5 years that I've witnessed.
If all of these people, these million coaches want to earn $50,000, they're each going to need to have 177 people on their downline consistently. And let's just say that's possible. That means that there would be 177 million people within the Beachbody community. But if those 177 million people, they also want to build a team, well, they're going to need people, right? So how much is that? That would be over 31 billion people. We have long since run out of people on this planet. This is not sustainable. And this is what I'm showing you. I did a whole video on this last week. This is just if you have this annual goal of $50,000 with a weekly income of $961.54 before any of your expenses, then you need to, if you are making the $18 at a diamond, you are now have 12 people underneath you in total. I'm not going to get into how diamond works. I've explained that before. If you want to know, you can look it up, watch my old videos. But you are going to need to have those 177 people in your downline. You're going to need to sign up 12 people each month and every month. And some months you might need to sign up more as people fall out.
I know now more than ever what we have literally in our hands is needed. Think about our world in general over the last year. It's wild. It's been super surreal to experience, but our business really has always been, in my opinion, a blessing for almost anybody, but especially now. Health from home, a secondary income, a community to support people, someone to light the path, And then leaders, like calls like this. What other business do you think the different cell phone companies are having calls where they're like sharing great ideas with each other? No, that's the beauty of this business, is the collaboration that happens within our business. And I've seen it happen so many times before. I'm going to give you 4 examples real quick for those of you who are newer, but it has never mattered whether someone was sponsored by someone or they're part of a certain team. Like, our community that is Beachbody has always from day one blown me away. And like I said, I wasn't a part of a specific downline. So I've always just sort of been a part of the community at large. And I love so much what this business stands for. And I've seen it firsthand that it's so much more. This is Katie Ersta, and she got diagnosed with leukemia about a year into her Beachbody business. And I remember everybody started buying. She designed this shirt, Every Sweat Matters. Everybody started buying this shirt, and like thousands of them sold, raised a ton of money for leukemia. And we all rocked on our workouts. We would because obviously we film our workouts every day. We'd all wear our Every Sweat Matters t-shirt in support of her and like cheer her on. It's like, dude, this is so much bigger than some at-home fitness company. And then there is the Fitzpatricks. If you don't know Jamie and Kim, if you're not blessed to know them, you should look them up. They just started a podcast. They're absolutely some of the most incredible human beings on this planet. And in 2019, Jamie, in October, I think, he had a near fatal heart attack and a 6% chance of surviving. And our network came together in prayer for this family like you've never seen. It was insane. And when people try to say, well, it's like not a real community, it's like some virtual community. It's like, no, you have not witnessed what I witnessed when everybody in the network locked arms for these people. Next example is Christina Delgado, who's a great friend of mine. She came up with the hashtag, I am Team Beachbody. We're going through like a hard time as a network. And she's like, let's just share how our life has been changed by Beachbody. And we would write our stories up on our Facebooks and we would tag it, I am Team Beachbody. And literally the next day, corporate printed every single story out. And this was their Provo, Utah office. Every single story of these coaches whose lives had been changed, whether seemingly small or crazy large, they had covered the office with these stories. And it's like, you can tell me that this is just some network marketing come to some MLM. It's like, no, until you've experienced this and you realize, no, this is so much bigger than anything, any company that I have ever witnessed in my life. Just this past July, I had my heart tugged by human trafficking. It was, I was completely enthralled, had to do something. And in 6 months, 7 months, our community, through t-shirt sales and a sweatshirt, has raised $92,000 that we have donated towards human trafficking. This is not just some like income opportunity for some people to get rich quick. This community does incredible things. They change lives. They save lives. You save lives. And you make a difference. People have been commemorated. My friend, Vivi, she passed away, and the way that the family got together and the team got together to support her, she was able to donate a bunch of organs, save other lives. It's just like, don't sit on the surface level of what this really truly is. Collectively, I have seen people completely change. The leaders, the way that they collaborate, I've seen us make each other better nonstop. I've seen singular people become these absolute masterpieces. I've seen Scotty Hobbs and my friend Chris in the center. His life was saved by this business. My friend Brittany was thinking about taking her life. Her life was saved by the community that is this business. I don't care if people say that it's some scheme. I have witnessed what it truly is. This is a chiseling business. It can hurt. It can sting. It can be hard at times. But I swear to you, everything in life that ever mattered has been that way. It's always been challenging, because challenge is what grows you into the masterpiece that you're called to be. So it's my hope that you will use this vehicle in whatever way you see fit to live out the vision that you have for your life. But don't take easy street. Don't try to skip the gap. Don't try and detour when things get hard. Lean in. Use the community. Lean into each other. It's a beautiful thing when you do. It will make you so much better than you ever thought possible. And I'm just so grateful that you took some time tonight to be alongside of me for the journey. And I cannot wait to see what you guys' answers are and how you use those answers to grow a little bit closer to what you're capable of. I hope you guys have a blessed night, and we will see you again next Tuesday. Same link, same time. Love you guys.
Wow. Okay, so she's seen great things from this opportunity. And I'm not saying that those things that she described are bad. They are good, but it's like it's built on some sort of falsehood, because people who are donating to these things and they're collecting that money, those are probably people who are on the struggle bus thinking that MLM is the way, and it's clearly not. All I have to do is look at that income disclosure statement again, and it just shows you it's just not going to work for most people. And it has nothing to do with how much you work, how long you work, how many people that you talk to. The structure mathematically does not work out. But for her, I mean, do you hear it? That Beachbody is the savior. Multi-level marketing is the savior. It changes lives. You change lives. Let me know your thoughts and opinions below. What did you think of this training? What did you learn from it? Share with me below. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I appreciate it. And remember, you're beautiful and I love you.